She laid eyes on her husband for the very first time at his own funeral. She was kneeling at the altar to pray when hunger hit her out of nowhere, and her gaze drifted to the apple sitting there as an offering. She figured she'd sneak a quiet bite, and the instant her fingers closed around it, a hand shot out and seized her wrist. She shrieked. Her first thought was that her dead husband had come back as a ghost, too stingy to let her have a single apple. The man clapped a hand over her mouth, hissed that she was being too loud, and hauled her to her feet. Was she his wife? He demanded. She was too scared to get a word out, so he gave her cheek a pinch. Steeling herself, she finally reached out and touched him, and realized he was warm, alive. If he wasn't dead, she asked, then why hold a funeral at all? Right then, he caught the sound of footsteps. He pulled her down into the coffin with him and hid. She was terrified, but he murmured to her gently that he'd keep her safe, and she settled enough to drift off to sleep. Once the servants outside had gone, he sat up with her in his arms, ready to carry her back to her room, and she woke. Where was he taking her? She asked. He teased that he'd send her off to meet the gods. She took him at his word, declaring her one last wish was a little slice of cake. He gave a helpless smile and told his attendant to fetch her 2 pieces. The cake delighted her. She announced he was the kindest man she'd ever met, and swore she'd never breathe a word of his secret. He found her thoroughly entertaining. Just then, his attendant came with word of an urgent matter. Worried she couldn't protect herself, he slipped a ring that symbolized his power onto her finger. The girl, meanwhile, was lost in how good the cake tasted. That was when her family swept into the hall and found her gone. Her father flew into a rage. By the time she wandered back, he slapped her across the face and tore into her for slipping off without permission. Then her elder sister noticed the necklace at her throat, said she loved it, and told the girl to hand it over. The girl refused outright, but her sister reached out to grab it anyway, and in the scuffle, the ring slid off her finger. Her family recognized it on sight as her husband's ring. In moments, they were ringed by bodyguards. To keep his identity hidden, the man had put on a mask. He took the girl's hand and resolved to make her family pay for what they'd done. Her father asked, baffled, who he was, but the attendant said they weren't worthy to know. It hit the father at once that they'd crossed someone powerful, and he apologized over and over. The elder sister, though, snatched up the ring and claimed the girl had stolen the man's relic, expecting her to be punished. Instead, the man slid the ring back onto the girl's finger. The elder sister was utterly stunned.